All right, all right, all right. Sound a little bit like Kevin Hart, but we here, baby, in the zone with VNZ. This your boy Vel.
And it's Cyrus. What's going on, everybody? Happy. What do we? I don't even know what day it is. Either way, it's Big Dubs. We
It's
back.
been, yeah, man. We had a 2 week period where we had back to back L's, but like they said before the game last week, Bills have not lost 3 straight games under McDermott or with Josh Allen at the helm. So, good to be back. It was a long bye week, but it kind of flew by. Now that we're reflecting on it, we're going into, I believe this is what is this week 9? I should be knowing this shit, right? This is week 9.
What are we 4 and? What are we 5-2?
We 5-2, so I think we week 9 because we had
Yeah,
our
this
bye.
week it'll be week 9 now.
Yeah. So long story short, bye week flew by, kind of fake. We had Carolina right out the gate, which most people thought was a get right game, but Carolina was walking into that week on a 3 game win streak. So, Z, first off, how you doing? And then you know, we'll get into your thoughts on that game.
Good, man. I'm good. This we at your time of the year. What you say? Big. What was it? Scorpio season for you? So
Scorpio season, baby.
big Scorpio season for you. We got little Z's birthday this weekend. I know it's your missus' birthday this weekend.
That's right.
So it's good time.
Whole lot going on. Y'all got a party going on for him this weekend, or y'all
Yeah,
gonna keep it chill? What y'all doing?
yeah, we gonna do a little something on Sunday. Taking them to a little spot,
Okay.
have some games and stuff for
Now,
them. But
you're not missing the 425 kickoff, though.
we plan on being home before then. But
Okay. All right.
I ain't
I
gonna
know
be
how
at the
that works.
stadium this week. We'll put it like that. I ain't gonna,
I
you
get
know,
you.
dad duty calls.
Got,
But
got
you
your foot.
know, it's another week I'm not there. My seat's going to somebody else. But we'll be all right.
That's a fact, man. But like I said, man, it's going to be colder out. But this is the perfect time of the year. We get a 4 to 5 week window, I say, in Buffalo, where the weather is enjoyable to those who kind of like the hot, cold, in between weather. Because we get in
Definitely hoodie season.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. What I mean, I got my long sleeves right now, but it's definitely hoodies, sweats, light jacket, right? We got rain coming up this weekend, but it's looking like no rain on the forecast for Sunday, so we're hoping that stays true because
Right.
I don't need no type of BS bounces going on Sunday. I need all 48. I think is a high. That's perfect.
We can work
48,
with that.
little bit of sun. We're gonna do what we're gonna do. But obviously, I think I predicted 27-17 for the game. That did not happen, which I'm proud of. I'm like shit. I didn't think we was gonna really have a 31-point win, but we went 40-9. So I guess I'll just get right to it because we don't have to spend too much time on the game, knowing that we got Kansas City to discuss. What was your biggest takeaway from the victory?
Same thing I said last week. Let your best player be your best player. Feed the hot hand, James Cook. And they did that to perfection.
Right.
They, more of a basketball saying, but they literally ran them boys out the gym. You
Yeah.
run it till you can stop it. We saw that outside pitch play to death, and they could not stop it. I mean, to have over 200 yards on less than 20 carries, that's pure domination up front. And I heard he had over 150 yards over expected. That's crazy. Like James Cook was putting in work.
Facts.
James Cook put in work. Didn't even touch the field in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I can't ask for much more than that out of my running game. It was nice to see the big boys up front dominating, leaning on that D line, and they have a stout defensive front up front in the middle between their big guys in the middle.
Yeah.
They got a good run defense, and they said, all right, we got some young boys on the edge, not as big, not as stout. We're gonna test it, and they failed that test, and I'm happy that the Bills stuck with it.
Yeah.
They didn't get overly cute or anything. They saw something that was working and went right back to it. So, kudos to Brady and Cromer and the rest of the squad. But like I said, right now, your best player on your team is James Cook. So let your best player be your best player.
Yeah, and I think that's important, to just jump on the last part is that when you got a guy and we know this is his last name, but when you got a guy cooking, let him cook. It's
Mhm.
corny to say, but you got to ride the hot hand. And I think, you mentioned it before, I've mentioned it. When you try to get too cute, that can come back to hurt you, especially when a guy has it going. I remember seeing in the third quarter against Atlanta, us give the ball to Cook maybe 5 or 6 times. And he picked up close to 40 yards and got us down into the red zone where we were able to get a touchdown. And then we kind of just went away from that. It was like, wait, that just led to 7 points. When we're not scoring much in this game, and now we're going away from it. Now we're taking them off the field. So I still would like to see him a little bit more on third downs. I know Bills under Brady, they've kind of been doing this thing where they'll mix in Ray Davis and Ty Johnson on third downs. But like you said, outside of that, you did what worked, and that was the sweeps, the zone reads. I mean, the man was finding a hole, getting to it, picking up positive yards. And then as we know, when he gets into space, man, you might as well just say bye. You might as well
Mhm.
say goodnight because he has that type of electricity, that speed that is just rare in this league. I mean, it's only 3 or 4 guys in this league. Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, off the top of my head, right there, those two in particular. But like Cook is in that, and Jonathan Taylor. Can't forget about JT. But like it's certain guys once they get to that second level, good night. You're not tripping me up. And I know he can get tripped up sometimes between 5 and 10 guys, but once he get between 10, 15, 20, you better hope you got a fast corner to track him down because he going to the end zone. And I think coming into the season, he was one of the top runners over the past 2 years and runs over 40 yards. Man, he just added to that.
Mhm.
He just added to that number. And as we get into this next week game, I hope that he's a big part of that. What I do wanted to get your thoughts on, because I have some thoughts on it, real quick, is the defensive side. We
Oh
know
yeah.
we know that we walked into this game saying that the Bills defense was going to have to step up. McDermott, Babbage, we know that they are quite known, especially McDermott, as defensive-minded coaches. That's their baby, right? Especially McDermott. That's his baby. So anytime the Bills defense struggles, they're going to look at the head coach because they're going to be like, listen, you're a defensive coach.
Right.
Like, what is wrong with your unit? So, I first want to tip my hat to 2 guys in particular, and they were the two of the 3 new guys that joined them back there, and that's Max Harrison and Michael Hoyt. I think those 2 guys, with a couple others, but those 2 in particular to me jumped off the screen in different ways, right? Hoyt was more like I heard Jordan Phillips say it after practice, more like a Tasmanian devil, right? He was just all over the place, just creating chaos, pushing the pocket, crawling on the ground with celebrations. Like Michael Hoyt was what you want your 6 man to look like, from a defensive line standpoint, like a guy you can bring in straight energy. We watch basketball, so when I saw that, I'm thinking Jamal Crawford, I'm thinking Lou Will, J.R. Smith, like this man coming off the bench swinging. You know what I mean? Just chucking shots. But in a football sense, he coming off the bench and he's attacking. And that's what we kind of been missing. We know AJ Epinesa, he does his own thing. AJ Epinesa can impact the passing lanes as he did in the game with the interception. He can get his hands up, bat down balls. But like Michael Hoyt brings another element because it's like whether it's the run or the pass, he can get after it and cause for that tackle, whether it's the right or the left side, to really have to hunker down. And I think what Hoyt is going to do more importantly going forward is cause offensive linemen to really get their hands on them early. Because if they don't, it might be curtains. And if you got Greg on the other side, or if you got Joey on the other side, or if you got Deion Walker pushing that pocket, I know we are already trending towards having 50+ sacks now in the season. I think those sack totals are going to increase game by game. And then real quick, Max Harrison, great job to me. You saw some of that speed, but what you liked, and I heard a couple different reporters bring it up, that physicality. The one-on-one tackle that he had on the boundary with the running back, that was really the missing piece that people said, well, in the draft process, he wasn't really a tackling corner. But like Bean said in one of his conversations, he was a willing tackler. And for me, if you're looking at a corner like that with that type of speed, playmaking ability, all I need you to be is a willing tackler. I just need you to be somebody that's willing to put your head in there, that's willing to try to wrap up and get the guy down. After that, we got guys that can clean up. I got safeties, linebackers who can come over the top and try to strip the ball, who can knock the guy out of bounds. But as a corner, I need you to be just willing to get dirty and willing to make that hit. So on the defensive side, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head with a couple of the people I wanted to highlight, and I love the word you used for Michael Hoyt when you said chaos. Like he's a chaos creator. Like that sack that Eiler had on that first drive, that came directly from Michael Hoyt causing chaos right up front. Gave him a free lane. And I will say, just a quick pivot. That loss to Ed Oliver hurt.
Yeah, dude.
It's
Woo!
even since the middle of last season, he's been playing at an elite level.
Yeah.
And it just sucks to see. Like in 3.5 games or 2.5 games, he was already just putting up numbers. And in the first couple of series of this game, like he was playing at a dominant level. And it just sucks to see, like, when someone's finally really putting it together at a high level and they just can't, catch a break. And it's just, it's the ugly part of sports.
Yeah, sports, period.
Yeah, it just it is what it is. And, hopefully he can come back stronger than before. But, it definitely does leave a hole in the defense.
Sure. Somebody gonna have to.
Yeah, and I wanted to see this defensive line at full strength at some point. With the suspensions, we never even got a chance to.
We never got a chance, and that's crazy.
As soon as Ed Oliver came back, Daquan Jones went out. TJ Sanders went out.
Yep.
Now we don't get the chance.
Right.
Ogunjobi comes back, Ed Oliver's out. Daquan Jones would come back at some point. Maybe TJ Sanders come back at some point, but at best, what do we got? A mid-January return for Ed Oliver, and that's a maybe. So
and you hope by then, real quick too, that, and I think it's trending that way, that you get at least one of the two defensive tackles in the next week or two, and Daquan Jones and TJ Sanders, because I really look for, especially a young guy like TJ Sanders, if he's able to blossom the last month and a half of the season, that could prove to be very helpful for us come to playoffs, because
absolutely
Daquan Jones, we already know what we're gonna get from Daquan Jones. He's gonna be steady Eddie, he's gonna do his 111, cool. But when TJ Sanders comes back in a couple weeks, I'm expecting to really try to see if we can see his growth, because now guess what, you are going to be a vital piece in that rotation, and we're going to need something from him. What I mean?
Absolutely. And hopefully, like a lot of young players, hopefully this time on the sideline gave him a chance to sit back,
right,
take a step away, and truly lock in and see what it looks like to play D tackle in the NFL.
Especially when he's watching his counterpart, when he's watching his teammates have success, he got to be looking back like, man, I want to be. I need parts of that too.
Yeah, because he got a taste of what NFL play is like. Now he can take a step back, heal, and now look. So these are the things that I need to do to be successful. Right. This is the speed I need to play at. This is what I need to see and focus on. So hopefully he comes back better, because they need him at this point. I don't expect them to take a big swing at a trade for a D tackle. I mean, if they pick up a D tackle somewhere, it's going to be probably a 35, 36-year-old vet at a vet minimum deal, just to throw into the rotations.
Because they know, like we just mentioned, they know they're getting guys back. Like, it'd be different if it was like
nothing.
Ed Oliver out for the year, along with Daquan Jones is out for the year, or something like that. Like, nah, they getting two guys back. Probably
Sanders has to miss 2 more games at minimum.
Right.
Daquan Jones he's probably just a couple weeks away at most.
Right. He probably another game or 2 away. But you getting those guys back. So with Ogunjobi coming back, with Ogunjobi in the mix, with Jordan Phillips elevated, we already know what Deion Walker brings. We'll see what that looks like week to week. But it's promising that we know on the edges, at least, we're starting to see what we wanted to see.
And with Michael Hoyt coming back in, it gives him so much more versatility, because he's a player you can kind of put anywhere. And with Ed Oliver going down, it's definitely a bit of not even a bit. It's a lot of a pass rush loss from that D tackle position. But you can bring Michael Hoyt down towards the middle in these pass rush situations and have him rush
and get
from
crazy
in there. And because he's a problem for interior offensive linemen, just with his speed and his power that he can generate.
Yeah,
so it definitely helps having him back to kind of cushion the loss of Oliver. And I do want to add, just like you said, Max Harrison, I think he added some juice to the back end, along with Hancock coming in there as well. It's nice having some youth and some speed on the back end, because that tackle that Hancock had on Rico Dowdle, if that was one of their other safeties, it's a high chance that that's a touchdown. But
Facts.
him having the speed over there to make that tackle, that's what this youth can give you. So, if he can continue to develop and Max Harrison continues to grow, it makes a big difference on this side of this defense. And even in the limited reps, you saw the difference in speed at that QB2 position.
Yeah.
And he brought the physicality that brings energy, that brings juice, that brings excitement. So like if he can, just keep learning and keep growing, I mean, I think he's going to be a key asset, especially down the stretch. Because I mean, he gives the secondary something we haven't had in.
Probably since, man, you might have to go.
I'm going what, Leotis? Like, I don't know the last time we had this level of athlete at the QB position. Because this is Benford is not this level of athlete. Even Trey in his prime is not this level of athlete.
I would go back even further. I mean, I like the McKelvin one, but I say even Terrence McGee. Terrence McGee gave you even though he was shorter.
Either way, we going mid 2000s.
Yeah, 20 years. Yeah.
So either way, it's been a long time since we had this level of speed and this level of athleticism at that QB position at anywhere across the board. Right. So, if he can grow and learn, it's going to make a big difference. But it was nice to see the defense generate some pressure. Nice to hold up to the run. I mean, granted, I think 116 yards, something along those lines on the ground, but there was no dangerous shots that were taken. It was a couple plays here and there, but they held up their own. Generated 7 sacks, which is huge. Granted, this is Andy Dalton, but it's still a vet that's seen pretty much everything in the game. So to generate that, still a hell of a play. So, kudos to the defense for having a little bit of a bounce back game. I expected to see it, especially coming off the bye week, coming off 2 losses. I expected the defense to come out, swinging. And like I said, and on the episode last week, I did not think Carolina and the Bills are on the same level, and the Bills should prove that. And they definitely did.
Right. And that's what you want. I mean, you contending for a championship. You cannot let an up-and-coming or a middle-of-the-road, because I'm not saying they're a horrible team, but a middle-of-the-road team, like, even though they were at home, and we know this is a week-to-week league. I mean,
and we did that 2 weeks in a row before that. Atlanta shouldn't have came in and go pound for pound with us, and I still don't think New England should have either.
Yeah.
Those are two. Well, New England's a good team. Atlanta's a good team, but those are teams Buffalo on their best day should be able to control.
Right.
And they got caught slipping.
Yeah. And that's why we fast forward and we go forward and we look at Kansas City. The ultimate test, but we've been here before. So I'm not going to make this seem like the matchup of the year, the game of the season, because it's still,
even though it is,
standing wise, I think mentally it helps. It goes a long way too. Because I saw a tweet. It said, unfortunately for the average fan who is never pleased, this is a lose-lose situation because
100%.
You know what I mean? If they win,
it doesn't matter. Do it in the playoffs. It only matters till you do it in the playoffs. If you lose, you're not as good as Kansas City. You're not in the same league as them. There's no way to win out of it. Unless you beat them boys, it doesn't even matter. You can beat them 40-9 and say, do it in the playoffs. So it's not going to matter. There is no
back before 38-21 or something like that. I think we did.
I think we beat them by in the last couple of years. We beat them by 19. We beat them by 9. I think we beat them by 4.
Yeah. So I mean, arguably, this is one of their better offenses, I'll say, over the last 4 years, probably since they left. Well, I'll just say since Tyreek Hill left. They're coming in with Rice.
Best offense they've had in probably 3 years.
Right. That's what I'm saying, since Tyreek Hill left. So, I guess for me, the thing that makes this slightly different from the last couple of years, because last year, even the last 2 years, I felt like our defenses, every time we faced Mahomes, it was always, and I know we're missing Ed Oliver, we're missing Daquan Jones and whatever. It was always something off about the matchup where I just never felt like like I should about our defense facing Pat Mahomes, even when they were struggling the last couple of years when we played them. This year, even though we just said their offense has got all their pieces, they got 5-6 different receivers they can throw in there. I'm actually feeling I'm actually feeling confident that our defense is actually going to put together a good game plan. We know that, it looks like Isaiah Pacheco will be out, dealing with an injury that's going to be week to week. And I'm sure he'll bounce back in. That dude a rough rider. So
Yeah, I think it's the MCL sprain, so a couple
he'll
weeks.
be out, yeah, he'll be out there in a few weeks. But going against Kareem Hunt, we know they're looking at things like we do. They're like, well, Bills haven't really stopped the run this year, so I expect them to be a little bit physical at the point of attack. But I also expect them to spread the Bills out because they understand that this secondary is also not A1.
Yeah. And it's kind of untested this season too. Like a lot of teams are not just drop back to pass in some games because they haven't had to. The running game has worked so much, so they haven't had to really drop back and really go after the Bills' pass defense. And I think this is a week where they will definitely be tested.
Yeah, and I think that's the fun part for me is to see what our D line looks against their O line. We know that D line and O line, we win that matchup. Just straight man for man, pound for pound. Our defensive line is better than their offensive line. So I expect us to get pressure. The next step for me is just going to be, what does that plan look like for Kansas City, though? Are they going to try to go with the quick game? Or are they going to try to look for the deep shots to get behind, Tre'Davious White if he's out there, Benford, whoever, or get down the middle of the field and attack Cole Bishop, Jordan Poyer, Hancock, whoever they throw out there at safety? It's going to be a fun kind of chess game between both head coaches and both coordinators on both sides, because it's almost, when you're playing this Bills defense this year, especially at this point, it's almost like let's see what works in the first quarter and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
If it's running the ball, I can see a team just like Andy Reid just saying, okay, fuck it. If Hunt gonna get 5 yards a carry, let's just pound it down their throat, play action, get it to Kelsey, play action, get a deep shot, and let's win the game that way. I can also see them passing early, and if they got success and if Bills are not stopping the pass, just saying, fuck it, we're going to throw for 300 yards this game. So with that being said, matchup-wise, and I'll do both sides just so we play it fair, when Kansas City has the ball, which matchup are you most interested in on Sunday?
And I will say, one thing that's always intriguing about this matchup is, it's usually both teams, but especially Kansas City's offense and Patrick Mahomes in particular. The matchup against the Bills always brings out his best. So it is like, I feel like the Kansas City offense we see is always a step better than what the rest of the league always sees.
Yeah.
Because again, iron sharpens iron. So you bring out your best, you come focused when you're playing against another team at your level.
Right.
So I know we're going to see Kansas City at their best for the most part. I do think it's a situation where Buffalo may be able to get some pressure, but the thing we've always had issues with is getting hands on Mahomes.
Right.
Pressure is one thing, but can you actually do something with that pressure? Right. Can you keep him from scrambling for 10, 15, 20 yards like he's been doing a lot more this season? Can you actually get hands on him to get sacks? So, I think up front is going to be the biggest matchup, because what you do up front is going to dictate what happens on the back end.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I can agree with that part, because like you said, when Von Miller was here, the thing that pissed me off is, outside of the first matchup that he had with Pat, when he made the game kind of saving play, and he's taken out Pat a couple times before, but like, I always felt like one of the reasons why we've been chasing pass rushers since McDermott and been here, because we got to get Pat to the ground. And I think that this is probably the closest the Bills, from a pass rush standpoint, have been at really putting together a good, very solid group of 7 pass rushers that, really, since, I think the statistics even say it, really since, Kyle Wood. Well, yeah, that group.
Yeah,
that group from 10, 12 years ago. So, like, I'm looking at this group of, I'll call it 5 or 6 that they got, and this is even with Ed Oliver out. And I'm like, if y'all can keep that momentum going, where y'all are not just touching guys, y'all are taking them down, we have a good chance at putting them in some very unfavorable situations. And we know with Pat Houdini back there, he converted on 3rd and 19. Like, so it's not like when you get him in 2nd or 3rd and long that the game is over. But I'll much rather go the whole game where every time he's in a key situation, it's 3rd and long, and the crowd is going nuts because we know the crowd gonna be crazy. I'd much rather that be the case than it be 3rd and 2 throughout the whole game because we know they converting that, and if they don't get it, they going for it. So I'm looking for that pass rush and that D line, like you said, to kind of win that matchup and really not just push him out of bounds, get him to the ground. Because one thing I've seen Pat do before, Pat really don't like being hit. The only time Pat like being hit is if he's lowering his shoulder because he's going out of bounds and he do his little flex or whatever. But when Pat is really getting hit, he be having that look on his face like, God damn, come on, guys. He get frustrated. I don't think no quarterback like getting hit, unless, you the people like Josh and, Cam Newton type, what I mean, who can kind of take that. But I really want to point out, because we all know everybody gonna have eyes on, Max Harrison versus, what's the young dude name over there?
Worthy and Rashee Rice and
but we know that we're going to look for that speed on speed matchup, with Harrison and those guys. But there's 2 people coming back this week that I'm gonna really have my eyes on, and it's not really a particular position versus position battle, but my eyes are going to be on Milano and Bernard, because I really need to see them 2 together healthy, impacting the game. We've seen them 2 together on the field. Both of them have been at like 75, 80% most of the season. I mean, shit, Milano has missed 80% of the season. So I can't even say what percentage he's been when he's been on the field. But them 2 healthy, to me, is going to let me know everything I need to know about the next couple of months, because we already seen Shaq Thompson at his best. Shaq Thompson at his best is still a starting caliber linebacker in this league. And not only a starter, he's kind of impactful. I mean, let's be honest with you. He is out there making an impact on the field. So what I want to see from Bernard, what I want to see from Milano this week is, can you prove to me that y'all need to be on the field more than our other 2 linebackers? Because Dorian Williams and Shaq Thompson have shown kind of in consecutive weeks, if we go back to the second half of the Atlanta game, they've kind of shown that if you leave them in there, they can do the job. Now we all know Milano at his best is one of the best linebackers in the league, and we all know Bernard has a knack for finding the ball, taking away the ball, punching out the ball, recovering the ball. We know all of that, but they've both been in and out the lineup. So my eyes are going to be glued kind of on the linebacker situation. I know everybody going to be looking at secondary versus the wide receivers. They got a lot of speed. That's a cute one. You know what I mean? And it may really come down to the wide receivers versus our secondary. But I'm looking at intermediate. I'm looking at when Kareem Hunt gets the ball. What is Milano doing? What is Bernard doing? Because that's going to tell me everything I need to know about how they should line up for the rest of the year. Because I really think 3 linebackers, we're going to see a lot more of that. And down the stretch, especially when you're playing teams that just want to run the ball. So I can see a scenario where Bernard, Milano, and Shaq are all out there together at least 25 to 30% of the time. I just don't know how effective that'd be if you keep taking Taron Johnson off the field. That's that dilemma. It's like Taron is still a very good player, and the more we flirt with taking him off, that can impact some other things. So I heard through the grapevine there were full participants in Wednesday's practice, so that has me kind of paying attention to, okay, if they do put him back in the starting lineup, what am I getting from those 2? Because they have a chance to make a good impact. They got a chance to. Bernard made the game clinching interception last time they was in the regular season. Milano, he's had, he hasn't really played Pat a whole lot of times because he's been out the lineup, but Milano has had his big moments in a Bills jersey. I'll just put it that way. But is that a thing of the past? Do we need to put you in the buddy system and kind of leave the line? Or are you ready to return to the starting lineup and be in the Matt Milano that we know? So that's my take on the Kansas City side. Now, when the Bills got the ball, what is your key matchup that you're looking at?
It's going to be how the Bills handle the blitz. That has to be the biggest matchup in my eyes. Meaning, I know the Bills are going to try to run the ball and lean into that some, but we know that Steve Spagnuolo loves to blitz. We know that over the years, the Bills have had issues identifying or, having a quick outlet or just an answer for the blitz in general. You combine that with some of the issues that the receivers has had of getting open recently, and that has the potential to get ugly if you do not have an answer. So, the biggest thing that I want to see this week is what do the Bills do when Steve Spagnuolo dials up those blitz?
Yeah.
We have a quick outlet. Are they going to try to utilize a screen game? Are they bringing some slants in? What are we going to be doing? And I think that is going to be probably one of the biggest factors in this game, because if we're trying to run the ball and that's not working and we get into those obvious passing down situations, buckle up.
Right.
Because they're going to be bringing something exotic. And, Steve Spagnuolo has always historically done a great job of being very creative of who's coming, crowd the line of scrimmage. I have 7 guys here. I know 5 of them are coming, but I have no idea which 5. So, what are the answers? What does Joe Brady have in the bag for this week? Can Josh and, Connor McGovern identify and make the correct line adjustments to figure out, who's coming, what I need to do to make sure this quarterback stays upright? So, that's going to be my biggest key to the game. What is the counter to the blitz?
Yeah, I think that's a key point, though, to bring up the coaches, because we know Spags has been great in key moments in his career.
Decades now.
Yeah. In his coaching career, it's never about game to game for him being the best. It's always about
the moments.
When it matters most, Spags can dial up some shit. Let's just call it. So, when he's, now that Spags has seen Josh Allen, 10, 11 times, 12 times, 13.
Yeah, I think this is number 10.
Yeah. Spags has seen enough of Josh Allen, kind of know the tendencies. He kind of knows what looks. He kind of knows probably how to mess with Josh and be like, I'm going to show you this look, but I'm going to really get you this, which we saw last year in the playoffs. So that's probably, you're probably right. That's probably the key matchup is the coordinator versus the coordinator battle, Josh versus reading the alignment, the packages, because we know Josh at his best. Josh can make a play out of nothing, right? He's put on the cape before. I mean, last time they were in Buffalo, 4th and 2, they show him a look, and he like, fuck it, I'm taking off. Game over, right? So we know in key moments he can even make a play even when things aren't right. But to me, it's going to be the mental aspect of this game that I'm going to look for in Josh. Like you said, the coaches, that's going to be a nice battle there. But mentally, how is Josh going to handle this? Knowing that the passing game has been off a little bit the last few weeks, knowing that the eyes have kind of been looking towards him a little bit over the course of the last few weeks to be like, hey, is Josh okay? It's something going on in Buffalo. When the fans start looking at Josh and start making excuses like, yo, is his hand good? Because I saw him shaking his hand a lot, and I don't know, maybe he needs to like spend less time with Haley, and people start like, people get
you have been seeing weird stuff like that. Yeah, like he too happy.
Well, right, like fans, they get weird when it comes to Josh.
Or maybe he's just not at his best right now. Maybe he doesn't trust his receivers. Maybe he's having an off couple weeks. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and that's why I laugh at it, because I'm just like, people don't want to say, oh well, he was off, last week, or he's been, kind of not trusting what he's seeing from a receiver.
And he's saying that himself. Post-game conference. I'm not trusting my feet. I'm not trusting what I'm seeing.
Yeah, exactly.
AKA, I'm also not trusting my receivers. Like there's things that are happening that is causing it. But sometimes, you look at everyday people. There are times when we're at the job and we're not at our best. You think these humans are going to be at the top of their game every single game? It's not going to happen. It's going to be off weeks.
Yeah.
But now, what can they do to get back in track? Back on track?
Yeah, because like I said, ultimately we know this comes down to, it's going to be a 4th quarter game. And there's going to be some adjustments made on both sides. But, like, you have to make one more play than the other team. Whether that comes from your defense. Lately, it's been having to be the offense when they've played Kansas City that has to make that play. But you got to be ready. I do think that this is a big opportunity for them to continue. We've been saying this every week, to ride the hot hand and find multiple ways to get James Cook the ball. Because there's not a game where he necessarily needs 25 carries. Or 18 carries. This is a game to me where if I know this team is going to blitz or be creative with their blitzes, I'm also getting James to catch a couple passes. 3-4 catches in this game. I remember the game back in Kansas City a couple years ago where he caught it on the wheel route and ran it all the way in the end zone. So like, I'm going to make sure we find different ways, not just the handoff. The handoffs is cool because he's getting damn near 6 yards a pop. But I'm finding multiple ways to really get the ball in his hands because I like the matchup of him versus their linebackers every day of the week.
Yeah,
Every
I'm with you. Their linebackers are good coming downhill,
right.
just
You get
triggering
a
and going. Their forte is not dropping back in coverage or
right.
covering a running back out the backfield one-on-one. That's not their forte. So if you can isolate a James Cook on a Nick Bolton, that's a matchup that you like.
Right.
So if I see that, I'm like, oh yeah, clear that out. ISO
Yeah.
that whole side. Let my man go one-on-one
One on
and
one.
get the ball up and let him make a play. So I would love to see the Bills running back utilized in the passing game, isolated with those linebackers. I want to see them try to cover Dalton Kincaid with the Nick Bolton and right up the seam. Okay, cool. That's a matchup that I want to try to expose.
Right. And that's where I think that's where the key part of this all goes is like the Bills actually do have answers for the blitz. It's just utilizing that and throwing that in there and making sure, hey, when I'm seeing something at the line, I'm an audible into this because this is if you show me this or if this comes from this side, I know I got Ty Johnson that can get me 8 yards on this one and he can get up and get the first down. I know I got Dawson Knox here as my outlet, or I know I got a quick pass to Shakir, as you mentioned before, if I need to get rid of the ball. So that chess game between the two coaches, but also the mental part of that battle Josh is going to deal with for 4 quarters is really the that's the meat and potatoes of this game. Is offensive coordinator versus defensive coordinator, especially when the Bills got the ball. Because Andy Reid versus McDermott, we already know they're gonna have fun going back and forth, doing different adjustments. You know, Babbage, I know they said he sharing, duties. Yeah.
AKA coach calling the plays.
Right. You know what I mean? That's a soft way to put it. But like we know that's really gonna be Andy Reid versus McDermott when Pat has the ball. On the other side, though, that's the meat and potatoes of this matchup to me is Joe Brady, Spags, Josh versus Chris Jones and the rest of that crew, and our running backs, because I'm gonna include Ty Johnson in there too, versus their linebackers. Because I don't think this is a big. I know fans ain't gonna be too happy. I don't think this is a big receiver day for the Bills. I just don't. I don't see the Bills receivers having a big day against the Chiefs. This is not the matchup for that. This is a matchup for your running backs, your tight ends, Josh a little bit. And yeah, maybe you get a couple plays from Khalil Shakir, hopefully Keon Coleman to kind of build that relationship back up because it seems like every day online is slander Keon day. So it's like,
oh yeah. Listen, if you listen to the radio and online, you would think
that
Keon is a pure scrub
ever. And
I'm just like, dang, like
I done seen some worse receivers in the Bills uniform. Like
he just hit a full season. I'm not saying he's been great, but like I don't think the book is completely written on him. Like it's just a lot of people that's completely writing it off. I'm like,
they don't know where to point the finger, and that's the problem. It's like
100%.
One thing if the man was getting the ball or was dropping a ton of passes.
Yeah, I just still feel like they haven't figured out how to use him.
Right, exactly.
Because again, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I didn't watch all 22 of every game, but are they allowing him to run other routes, or are they just giving him these back shoulder fades? Like, are they giving him the opportunity to try to run a full route tree, or are you just pigeonholing him to certain types of routes? Yeah, so like I think they definitely want more from him, obviously, but again, I don't think that his career is written.
They didn't draft him as, and I know separation has been the big convo for the last 2 weeks. They didn't draft him as a separator. But at the end of the day, just because he's not a separator doesn't mean you can't find ways to get him the ball. You know how many tight ends who have been successful in the NFL that weren't separators? Right. They just were able to find ways. I mean, I look at Antonio Gates. His whole career was all about they found ways and found different spots to get him the ball.
They above the rim.
Yeah, and my man just played basketball. You know what I mean? So I hate that conversation around Keon right now because we all knew he was not Torrey Holt. We knew he wasn't the next coming of whoever else you want to, Chad Ochocinco in his prime. Like that wasn't his game. His game wasn't quick twitch. So now people are like, oh, he's not doing this. I'm like, well, that was never his game. His game is get the ball in his hands or find ways to get the ball in his hands and let him try to get upfield. Or when you get in the goal line situation at the 5-yard line on 1st and goal, you can throw him a jump ball. And I would say 5-6 times out of 10, he's probably going to come down with it. So I think people need to pipe down on that. Is he going to be a bona fide one in this league? Probably not. But I don't think the Bills drafted him thinking that, oh, this is our Calvin Johnson of the future. Like, this is our guy. This is Larry Fitzgerald. I think the Bills just thought, hey, this is a nice addition to our offense where Josh can have a guy when he's trying to make a play, have a guy go get that ball. And it just hasn't fully worked out. He showed flashes last year. He showed flashes week 1 of this year. I just think they got to figure out that nice soft spot where, hey, 3-4 catches a game for 65 yards. I can live with that. They just got to find out how to do that consistently. And I think people will pipe down a little bit. But as we know, fans here are never satisfied. So that's another discussion.
Yeah. So with the offense, do you expect to see any Gabe Davis call up with my man, now official member of the practice squad?
I think this.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that after seeing Max Harrison play last week, I'm not ruling out anything because nobody imagined Max Harrison would get, activated. The 21.
I was hopeful, but I didn't expect it.
But nobody expected it. So after kind of seeing how that played out, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Jordan Poyer, I remember when we picked him up, I damn near thought he was going to be just coaching the whole year, essentially. He was wearing a jacket. And now
him and Jordan Phillips on the 53.
Right. Now they on the 53 getting snaps, like meaningful snaps. So I look at Gabe Davis as a guy who can, possibly come in, I would say maybe 10, 15 times during a game, whether it's obvious passing downs or whether you want to put him in there for run blocking or disguise it like he's a run blocker and get him out there.
Yeah, and the thing is with him, he does do the 30 stuff that this Bills offense expect out of their receivers. He's great at running or at run blocking. He runs the clear out routes. So like he does the things that are needed. So like I think there is potential value there, but it's just a matter of what does that look like? Who's coming off the field? How often do you go to that well?
Because I think right now the place I can see him taking a spot in is he can pretty much have the Tyrell Shavers role. We look at Tyrell Shavers right now. He is coming in on like obvious rundowns. He's coming in here and there. Like, I mean, Shavers is coming in about 15 times a game. And when you see him come in, he's not really a threat on the defensive side. But I think that if a defense sees Gabe Davis out there, you got to think twice because you got to say, well, is he in there because Josh trying to get him to block, or is he in there just to block? So I think like when you're looking at Shavers come out there, I don't think the defense is communicating much. The defensive coordinator like just stay in front of him. I don't know what are you gonna do. Just stay in front. When Gabe Davis is out there, I think he will kind of make the corner or whoever is covering him kind of be like, okay, let me at least focus a little bit because I need to figure out what this number 13 is doing in front of me. So I do want to add though, I think this is really just kind of a week to week thing with him too, though, because with the trade deadline coming up, I do think that part of this is the Bills trying to at least get a look at him.
100%. I was going to add that. I think it increases the likelihood of them playing with the trade deadline being next Tuesday. Right. All right, let's see if there is something there. Granted, I don't think this stops them from making any moves at all.
Right.
This should not be in the equation at all for them potentially making a move. However, I think they would love to see what does Gabe Davis potentially look like out there.
Right. Which I'm not mad. Like, I mean, shucks, we got Poyer.
And again, at the end of the day, I don't expect it to be earth shattering.
No.
Like, I don't expect Gabe Davis to get thrown in the game. Yeah, he got 8 for 115. Like, ain't nobody expecting it. If that does happen, then shit.
Good problem to have.
Yeah. But again, I don't. If I'm Brandon Beane, I'm still having receiver on my radar for the trade deadline, regardless of if Gabe Davis is on the roster or on the practice squad or not. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, this is still a receiver room that is not operating the way it needs to. I mean, you won Khalil Shakir injury away from Keon Coleman and Curtis Samuel and Elijah Moore being your 3 receivers.
Right. And I think that's more so why you do it. At least take a hard look at it is because you don't want, and we've seen it happen with Khalil Shakir before, you don't want one of your top receivers to go down. You know, whether it's Keon too, because I know
or Keon, the same thing.
I say put dog in Keon, but like if he get hurt,
outside receivers are Tyrell Shavers.
Right. And we know Josh Palmer right now is week to week. So like, nah, you can't play this game. Especially when you're trying to win it all. Like if you just trying to get by and you like, we trying to just stay above 500. That's a different discussion. You're trying to win the Super Bowl and you have an MVP quarterback. You got to make sure you do all you can to maximize the.
100%. And if I hear my quarterback say he's not comfortable or not trusting what he's saying, I'm doing everything I can. Oh, word, bet. Let me get you some more here to make sure you feel comfortable.
Right.
Now, let's figure this out. If you
Yeah.
need a little bit more, bet. Here you go. Let's figure this out. Now you got what you need. Build this camaraderie, build this chemistry, and let's rock. Because right now, last week you didn't need the passing game. James Cook ran that team to victory.
Right.
However, every other week of the season, we're gonna need that pass game operating at a higher level than what it's doing right now. So, I think something needs to be done. Just because right now you don't have a healthy room, and your room right now, currently constructed, it's not good enough to withstand this level long term.
Yeah. And like I still say, I still think it's a collective thing. I think it's the receivers, but I also think it's on the coordinator and on the quarterback.
100%. This is not just a receiver issue.
Yeah.
This is not just a scheme issue. This is not just a Josh issue. This is all three of those things rearing its ugly head right now.
Yeah.
Because the passing game is not clicking right now, and it's a combination of all three of those things, not one or the other. It's literally all three. So what needs to be done to fix all that?
And that needs to be figured out like yesterday. So
yeah.
So good to have that conversation. I love to get into our bold predictions of the week. So, we don't really give bold stats anymore, but I thought for this game, since we know most likely to come down to the wire and it'll probably be mentioned as one of the top 5 games of the year because it just will. What's your bold stat prediction for this game?
I'm gonna do a touchdown parlay. Right? Okay. So I'm gonna get my obligatory Dawson Knox touchdown.
Okay, yeah.
It's because against Kansas City, Dawson Knox always ends up with a touchdown.
Yep, that's a fact.
It just happens. And also see a Ty Johnson touchdown.
Okay, so we got that's a nice one. You might win $100 on that one if you play.
Yeah, on that. Yeah, anytime touchdown for those two.
Yeah, that's a little deeper in there. Okay. I'm since you went offense, I'll go defense on this one. I'm gonna go Max Harrison gets his first interception.
Ooh, off of Pat.
Off of Pat. And we know we just saw Pat throw 2, and sometimes interceptions come in bunches, right? We saw that happen with Josh Allen for about 3 weeks where he had 3 weeks straight. This may be Pat's turn, right? To get the interceptions out the way. Because we know come the playoff time, he's not really throwing many. So I think Pat puts a couple balls out there, and I think Max Harrison, I think he gets one. And like I said, it'd be very, very big if he can, because I think that'll help build his confidence. I think he's already a confident dude, but I mean, to get your first home game in the Bills uniform, to get it on Patrick Mahomes, I think that'll be one that he never forgets. And for the Bills, it'll be helpful because that'll be a great momentum boost.
They need every turnover they can get.
Right, because they haven't really gotten many interceptions. I mean,
they've been getting plenty of fumbles, but interceptions have been tough to come by this year.
Yeah, a lot of fumbles. I know Epinesa had the interception last week on an acrobatic play, but the secondary really hasn't done a good job of taking away the ball. So I'm looking at you, Benford. I'm looking at you.
Can you think of any secondary interceptions?
The Cole Bishop one against the Saints.
Right. Yeah, that's all I can't think of any others. I don't know if anybody in that secondary has an interception.
I don't think so either. So it's borderline concerning to me, because that means, like, are we not around the ball enough, right? Is it a pressure thing? And I don't really think it is, because right now the Bills have one of the higher pressure rates of the.
Yeah, they're not working together, because you're getting pressure up front, but on the back end there's cushion, there's room. So I get the pressure, but there's an outlet. So it's not married together.
Right. So I need my secondary, and I'm not saying this is the perfect week.
I need them to come up some. These cushions, it makes it too easy for these quarterbacks to get the ball out.
Especially, and I'll just leave it at this, especially when I'm paying a guy like Benford all that money. And I'm not saying he
$20 million almost.
But like, you getting paid a lot of money to be giving dudes 10, 15 yards off. And I'm not saying it's really just Benford, because I see Tre'Davious White, and that's why he's likely going to be going to the bench real soon. I mean, it is just too much space back there. And if I'm Benford, I'm like, man, let me do some bump and run. Let me get up in their grill a little bit, because I feel like the best part of his game is the physical part. Like, the best part of his game is when he's attached to the hip. So I would like to see, now that Max is in the lineup, now that we getting Jordan Hancock sprinkled in there, I like to see some more sticky coverage on the back end, because I really do feel like with our pass rush this year, like, this is one of our better pass rushes that we've had under the McDermott era. With this pass rush, we should be getting more interceptions. And like I said, this may not be a perfect week for it, because I get it. We playing one of the greatest ever quarterbacks. It is what it is.
100%.
So this may not be the week, but I'm just saying, moving forward though, my secondary, can y'all please? I mean, a deflection, shit. Yeah, I mean, I'll take anything at this point.
Please get something.
Yeah, like, let me know y'all back there and not just tackling motherfuckers. So, I got a Max Harrison pick, and as far as score predictions, man, what you got?
This is tough, because I mean, we've seen these teams play all different types of games. We've seen games that ended in the teens. We've seen games that ended in the 30s and the 20s. Like, they've played every version of an outcome short of like 9-6, which I obviously don't expect. Right. So it's like, what do I see out of this 2025 version of the Chiefs and the Bills? And is not dangerous as the passing game for the Bills has looked in the last 4-5 weeks or so. They've still been scoring 20 plus, 30 plus,
right?
Short of the 2 games. So they still find a way to score,
right?
And Kansas City has been looking as dangerous as ever. So I think this is a game where there will be good defense, but the score will look like it hasn't, like it's not. I think this is a game where probably both teams score over 30, but it's not going to be like, these defenses are trash. I just think these games really bring out the best in these teams, in particular these quarterbacks and these offenses. So I think this is a game, whoever gets the 35 first. And I honestly have no idea who's going to win this game. I'm really racking my brain, like, is this a game that Buffalo pulls off? Is this a game that Kansas City pulls off? I don't know. But I truly think whoever gets to that 35-point mark first is going to be the one that pulls it off. I think it's going to go down to the last couple minutes. Who has that ball last? Who can make that big play when it matters? I'm going to lean to the Bills at home. But my guess is 35-34. Like, I think this is a last second kick type of game.
Got you. I like that. I'm actually leaning towards it being right in the 20s. I think defensively, I think there will be such good adjustments made on both sides that this has the potential to really be a fourth quarter game. So I'm going Bills 27-20. I think they win by a touchdown. Whether that comes in the fourth quarter, I ain't gonna give that bold of a prediction. I just think that it's gonna be a one possession game, like it kind of always is between the two. And I can see, once again, I can see this Bills defense really making a statement. I think last week was a little bit of a statement from the defensive side, because they were able to hold a team under 10 points. Carolina really didn't score any points till it was kind of garbage time per se. So I think that the defense kind of keeps it going. And I think that McDermott and the rest of that crew over there, I think they know, like, hey, we've been catching hate all year as being an underwhelming defense, as being a defense that's not playing to the Bills standard, that's not stopping the run, that's not doing this. I think they're going to come up fired up. And I feel like they got the right kind of mixture, even with the injuries. They got the right kind of mix of guys playing who will be healthy. We talk about Milano. We talk about Bernard. We talk about Shaq probably going to be out there too. Dorian, shit, throwing all 4 linebackers. I don't care. But you talk about Jordan Poyer being mixed in there with Hancock, with Bishop, with Max, with Benford, with Hoyt, with Ogunjobi, with Jordan Phillips, with Deion Walker, with Epinesa, with Joey Bosa, Greg Rousseau. Like, I can name 9 or 10 guys on that defense that can really step up and make a difference. And I think it's going to be multiple guys. Obviously, it's not just going to be a one person thing. You know, whether it's Joey Bosa having a real coming out party, right? We know the Jets game, he had 2 forced fumbles in that game, but like maybe this is the Joey Bosa and Greg Rousseau game, right?
Yeah, and Bosa's seen Kansas City more than anybody else on this team. I
Right.
mean, 2 times a year, that counts for something.
You know what I mean? So maybe this is the game where they really hand the keys to Jordan Hancock and say, guess what? Now you're going to start at safety, right? Or Max Harrison, you're going to start at corner. So it to me, it's going to be a fun defensive matchup. But I think the cool part is that you got 2 juggernauts at quarterback who are still going to find a way to make plays. So I say all that to say I got 27-20 Bills. A rowdy atmosphere, a loud atmosphere, of course, at the Bills Stadium. CBS in town, Nate Burleson. They got Jim Nantz and Tony Romo calling the game. So fun Sunday ahead, y'all. A lot to look forward to. Obviously, I'll be there. I'm gonna hold it down for my man Z once again. Trying to do my job in section 127. Got my older sister. I think she's gonna be in 127 too. She said she got tickets.
Hey.
Yeah, one of her friends' birthday was recently, and they got tickets. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's really something that I don't take for granted. Just being a Bills fan, and in this era where we have basically the Peyton and Tom Brady of the 2020s. I'll just call it that, right? This has been the matchup for the last 5 years, and we have one of those guys. We have the team that is CBS gotta have us, right? They claim this shit as soon as the season come out. Yo, we gotta have that guy. Yup, put that on the schedule. 425. Yup, yeah, yep, that's us. Tony Romo. Yup, Jim Nantz. Like we are that. We are that team. We are that matchup every year that every fan looks forward to. So gotta have fun with it. Outside of that, man, I don't know if you got a chance to look at the week 9 lineup. Do you have any gimmies of the week? Do you have any upsets? What you got going on, man?
My gimme of the week, man. I think Baltimore over Miami, Thursday night game.
Yep.
Lamar supposedly coming back. At Miami, but short week. I just don't think this is a game Miami has much of a chance to win. I mean, Baltimore's still shorthanded defensively, but yeah, yes, Miami won last week. However, as desperate as Baltimore is right now, I think it's going to get ugly, and I think it's going to get ugly quick.
Okay. I got my upset of the week, and I want it to happen, but I'm gonna call it. I got Atlanta over New England.
Well, I need it to happen.
Listen, I love it. Just because I look at the Falcons and I'm like, they're a team that's kind of desperate to kind of get back.
Their season is on the line,
right? Like, and I heard Penix is supposed to play this week. But I really want to see, and this will be a test more so for the New England defense. Especially if they can get Drake London back in the lineup. I really want to see what they're going to be able to do with Bijan Robinson. Robinson has been, one of the top 5 backs this season.
Been quiet since the Bills game, though.
Right.
Done nothing since.
Yeah, been quiet since the game, but it's like I'm staring at the Falcons and I'm like, cool, you had a couple good wins, but now what you doing? Because now this is what people talk about when it comes to y'all. It's like y'all really can't be taken serious when it's time to get serious. Like, I mean, I remember telling that to a couple fans, even in Atlanta. I'm like, yo, it's cool to win an October game. Like, if y'all want to throw a parade and let off fireworks, that's cool. I'm now a fan of a team that plays in January, right? Mid-January, not the January week 18, week 17, January 3rd. No, my team is playing when there's only 4 teams left. You know what I mean? So when you got fans celebrating those nice little week 5, that's cute. Now we in week 9. It's the guts, right? We in the middle of the season now. Now we kind of starting to see where teams are going where. So I look at this as a statement game for Atlanta. So I look at that as a really potential upset there. I'm also kind of looking at that Houston-Denver game as another one to keep an eye on because I think Houston has a chance to get rolling there and take one at home against Denver.
But Houston's favored at home. So.
Right. So it wouldn't be an upset per se, but if you
no, I hear you because Denver's been playing at a super high level. So no, I hear that.
Yeah, so that's something to keep an eye on. But I'm gonna go with Atlanta. I don't got too much faith in that, but I'm gonna go with Atlanta. On the road against New England. outside of that, I really don't have too much else. This game is kind of been the same every year. Every October / November, this is the team that we play. This is the quarterback that we face every year in the playoffs. I think I saw the record 0-4 against him in the playoffs. And again, I'm not one of those fans that's going to be like, oh, well, we win and it's coming in January. No. Win.
Every season is a different season. Every game is a different game.
Right.
Again, right now we're in a division race. So this game is important because it's the next game on the schedule. We need every one we can get. So
and
it's big in that sense.
And you want to really just start rolling all together. I think that probably 80 to 90% of Bills fans after the Carolina game felt like there was more meat on the bone.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's time to string some wins together.
Right.
It's time. This is every year. This is the time or close to the time of season where the Bills start to put the pedal to the metal. And they run off 5, 6, 7 straight like this. It's time. So be who you are. Show that you are one of the best 2-3 teams in the league and be who you're supposed to be. Because right now you're not playing that way, but be who you're supposed to be. Right. Remember, you got this unicorn at quarterback. Figure out how to get him rolling and get this ball rolling. Show that you're the best. Show that you deserve to be where you desire to be.
Right.
It's plain and simple.
That's it. That's what I said.
You ain't got to be cute. You don't got to listen. You don't got to try to outsmart anybody. Go be you. Yeah. Go be you. Put your best foot forward and let the chips fall where they may. Shout out to Chauncey Billups.
Oh man, free him, right? Nah, but
free Chauncey.
Yeah, free Chauncey though. But man, listen, y'all. For real, man. If you go into the game, have fun. It's always a great atmosphere. If this is your first time going to a game, enjoy it. Especially, last year at the stadium.
100%. I'll also say, look, the season is not over after this week, win or lose. So breathe. If it's a loss, it's an L. Get back to work. If it's a win, we still not going to be in first place in the division. We still not going to be first in the conference. So it's right back at it. So don't live or die with the results. Enjoy the ride.
That's the unfortunate part. I already know what that radio going to sound like on Monday.
Listen, bro, look, I'm normally fine. I can normally listen to the radio after losses. If the Bills lose this game, for me, I just can't listen to the complaints that's about to be coming.
Complaining too much.
I like listening to sports radio for the discussion about the actual football itself, not the conversation of the fire McDermott, fire Bean, fire this, fire trade the whole. I ain't got time for that. I hate the whining and the complaining. Like, bro, shut up. Like, get your balls up, man. You sound like a little bee. Like, stop. I don't have time for that. Every time I hear it, I'm like, I gotta turn this radio off, bro. But I'm serious. Like, this is still a good team. Enjoy the ride. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna go 17-0. It's happened once. Well, technically twice, I guess. It's not gonna happen. There's gonna be L's. Enjoy this. You still have a good team. You still have a good quarterback. You still have one of the best teams in the league. Like, enjoy it.
Yeah,
sports should be fun.
When it's all said and done, it's gonna be one of the last 2 to 4 teams standing. I still got faith in that. Like I said, my biggest issue coming into the year was how to fix those questionable marks. Those questionable marks are slowly getting answered. We talk about safety.
There's just one big one left. Right. It's that passing game.
Right. And it's the passing game. Which, if you would have told me 9 weeks into the season that was going to be our biggest question mark, I'll be like, oh, that's it?
I can figure that out.
Josh Allen at quarterback?
Right. Yeah. It'd be different if the passing game not working because Josh Allen hurt.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean?
Josh Allen is not operating at his best. Right now, the passing game ain't working. Oh, word? Oh, we can figure that out.
We can figure it out. And that's where I'm at. And like I said, we got to get off this. We got to close up this episode. But like, that's where I really am at with this. It's like, whether it comes from a trade, whether Gabe Davis ends up being the savior for this passing game as a guy who can be in there 10, 15 plays a game. All I know is I still got the MVP at quarterback. And I am not expecting this guy to just fall flat on his face week in and week out. I'm just not. I'm not expecting him to throw 170 yards consistently. Are you nuts? I don't care if it was me out there. That's not going to happen. Josh will find a way to throw it himself if he needs to. Like, all this panic and thinking that this offense is going to suck for the rest of the year. Mind you, they're still top 5 in scoring on offense. Mind you, they still top 10 in overall offense. You know, some of that, a lot of that is still the run game, of course. But why?
And that's still part of the offense.
But but why is also the running game so good? Because I got a quarterback who teams are still afraid of. Like you just can't put 9 people in the box. As much as they say, "Oh, he just stack up and stop James Cook." Okay, cool. I still got a quarterback who can make plays down the field when he needs to. So, point blank, you already said it. Breathe. Enjoy the ride. Let's enjoy this game on Sunday. You know, it's not an 8 o'clock game, right? So it's right smack in the middle of Sunday. So let's enjoy it. Happy birthday, Lil Z. Happy birthday to my wife. Shout out to all the Scorpios. All of y'all not celebrating, but all of y'all having fun on Halloween. Make sure y'all just go out there and be safe with that as well. There's a lot of nutty people out there, so be safe. And also, I do want to say prayers out there for Jamaica, right? We always go out there collectively as a country to vacation, and I want to go out there and get my, whatever. Nah, listen, y'all. I've been to Jamaica recently. It's 2 years ago, right? 2 years from this date, actually. I was out there for a wedding, and those people, they treat you well. They treat you good. You know, they make the resorts all beautiful. Guys, please, if you can donate. If you can, whatever you can do to help, if you have it, right? I know we're all living in different, situations, circumstances, but really, I want people to think about what's going on out there. And, we take for granted all of these beautiful places that we get to visit to when we have the chance to. Jamaica, it's going to take a while. If I got any listeners from out there, I probably got 0, but I want y'all to know, man, y'all in our prayers, and it's all love this way from Buffalo, New York. So wanted to throw that in there. But anything else anything else you want to say? I know we're going over time, but
yeah, no, that's it, man. Let's enjoy this weekend, man. Have fun. Get out there, be safe. More than likely last time we see the Chiefs at this stadium. So whoever's gonna be there, be loud, be proud
for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I got one more game in me probably. Listen, I think I'll be in the house for the Tampa Bay one probably. So I'll be back in there soon enough. But enjoy the weekend, man. But again, we appreciate y'all rocking with us for another week. So wherever you're watching this, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. We appreciate y'all just chilling with us for another week, like I said before. But again, for Vel, I'm Z. This is In the Zone with V&Z. We appreciate y'all, and we're gonna catch y'all next week.
Bye. Go Bills, go Knicks, go Qs, go all that, man. Enjoy.
Go Sabres. Come on, fam. You say forgetting to say the disrespect, man. My man, go Qs before go Sabres.
Go Sabres.
Hate to see it.